Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the grey. Today's video we're going to talk getting started with Warhammer Age of Sigmar Warcry, and today we're going to take a look at the hardest of all the Oryx, the Ironjawz. In this video we're going to talk a little bit about how the Ironjawz work on the tabletop in Warhammer Age of Sigmar Warcry. We'll then take a look at some units we can use to start our Warcry warband with. We'll then from there expand upon and look at some of the other units available to us in the Warcry Warband's roster and use them to expand upon those initial couple of purchases, and finally finish off the video with a little sample warband of 1000 renown for you to use as some inspiration for creating your own Warcry warband for the Ironjawz. Before we get into anything else proper though, we do want to mention that you can find the rules for Warcry and indeed the Ironjawz warband for free on the Warhammer Community website. Simply go to warhammercommunity.com underneath the downloads section of the website, go to the Warcry header, you'll find the core rules and the destruction compendium, which will contain rules for the Ironjawz and indeed all the other types of Oryx if that tickles your fancy. So the Ironjawz, how do they work on the tabletop? They are super elite. They do not have many models on the tabletop. They are extremely and entirely, in fact, combat focused with very high toughness and wounds for their size. They are, as I mentioned, low model count, but the abilities can really push up the potential of the different fighters in the force, giving you extra movement, extra activations, extra fights, and a bunch of other stuff. The reaction is pretty cool as well, as it allows you to maximize your fighters and always make sure your Ironjawz aren't isolated, allowing you, if a friendly fighter is charged by an enemy comes into contact with them, you are able to use a nearby friendly fighter to then move into that fight as well, always getting the upper hand in those sorts of fights. But where do we begin for the Ironjawz? And well, the perfect place for me is the Oryx megaboss. Coming in at 225 renown, he almost takes up a quarter of all your points in an average Warcry game, but 3 attacks at strength 6, 4-8 on the damage with a toughness of 5 and 35 wounds. He is an absolute beast on the tabletop. He also gives you access to the Mighty Wire, where you can add 3 inch to all movement of friendly fighters within 9 inch of him, and he's got a regular wire for a triple as well, which adds half the value of the movement to the ability to friendly fighters only within 6 though. So he's got some other options he can play around with. Now, with supporting that model, I think Brutes are a fantastic box set to grab as your first other unit option for Warcry. First of all, they're going to give you access to a couple of cool leader options. Mostly, this cool leader option is going to be the Brute Boss with Boss Claw and Brute Smasher. He's actually going to have his own unique ability with that Brute Claw, which is going to be really fun, where da grab and bash for a triple. You pick a visible enemy fighter within 1 inch of this fighter and roll a dice. On a 3+ until the end of the battle round, that fighter can make move or disengage actions. It's pretty much your Oryx grips it. In addition, if you manage to roll the 6, the fighter that did this ability can then make a bonus attack action against said enemy fighter. Really good for getting an extra bit of punch, considering the guy packs out 4 strength 5, 2/5 damage attacks. Now, we've got the Brutes in a couple of different varieties. You've got the Gore Choppers, you've got the pair of Brute Choppers, and the Gore Hacker there. All Brutes are 5 for their toughness with 25 wounds. You've got a variety of different attack profiles. Generally, they're all going to be around about from strength 4 to strength 5, or they're going to pack out some extra range, or indeed even go up to a mighty 3/6 on the damage with the Gore Chopper. Now, you've just got so many options with the Brutes. I think, for me, definitely going with the 2 highest strength ones are my favourites. This is either the Gore Hacker or the Gore Chopper. But where do we look to next after that? Well, the Gore-grunters are another fantastic unit that's going to give you a couple of different options. You mostly have 2 different options with these units, which are going to be either the Jagged Gore Hacker or the Pig Iron Chopper. Both of these models will have toughness 4 and 35 wounds. That's incredible for just some troops for your force, though they do come in around a quarter of your renown points for each model. Now, they are going to pack out, depending on which one you go with, you've either got 4 attacks at strength 5 or 5 attacks at strength 4 with the 2 different variations of the weapon. Once again, I just like the higher strength for me. You get plenty of extra attacks with different abilities for your fighters, so I always like to go with extra strength. If you want to go with the boss here, it will crank up those points even more, but it will put you up to 40 wounds on the model as well. You've also got the cool ability as well with your fighters where you've got Gore-grunter charges able to do some damage when you charge into your opponent's lines. Now, two other leader options for these models are the Auric Warchanter and Auric Weirdnob Shaman. They're going to provide you with some different support abilities for your fighters. I really like the Warchanter, as the Warchanter is going to be able to give some bonus attack actions out to friendly fighters nearby. Meanwhile, you've got some direct damage dealing and some nice good splash auto damage from the Foot of Gork coming out of your Weirdnob Shaman. The last unit to speak about for the Aurics is the Auric Artboys. These are your cheaper troops, coming in at 80 renown for any variation you want. You can choose a variety of different weapon options with either their shields there, or indeed having big choppers for the extra damage, or going somewhere middling with the Artboys with the Artboy choppers with 2 attacks coming out of them. You've got a cool ability with them which is called Duff Up the Big Thing. This is going to allow them to do some extra fighting. This just allows them to get some extra power into their attacks. Generally, they are weaker than your average Artboy, but until the end of the fighter's activation, you add 1 to your attack and strength characteristic, fighting something with more than 15 wounds. And so here we have our sample warbands. Now, we've got a light on activations. I've always said that Ironjawz are just going to be light unless you include plenty of Auric Artboys, which for me, I just don't think they're personally worth it. I'd rather go with the much more tougher Ironjawz and play in a more compact playstyle with the Ironjawz. Now, the megaboss is going to be our champion, of course, and we've got a Warchanter in there for the bonus attacks, which is just going to be vital to making sure our fighters can not roll too terribly and get through the hits they need to. A brute boss with boss claw and brute smasher I think is just really cool. The chance that bonus fire activation against a big enemy can really swing a battle for me. Now we've got 2 fighters in the Auric Gore-grunter with Jagged Gore Hacker, and then an Auric Brute with Jagged Gore Hacker as well as our only 2 fighters, so 3 leaders, 2 fighters. This is an incredibly elite warband, but there is a ton of wounds on the table, and 157 wounds, well above the average wound count on what you're expecting to see. So while we don't have as many activations, we do have wounds to spare in that case. If you've been playing with Ironjawz in Warcry, or indeed you've got some thoughts for the Ironjawz in Warcry, let us know down in the comments below what you've got planned or how you've been doing. That's the end of the video, everyone. Thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, drop us a comment down below in the comment section and let us know what you enjoyed about the video and what you'd like to see more of on the channel. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our little community here we have at Sinful Gaming, you can do so on our Discord server, which is linked in the video's description. Also linked in the video's description is our Patreon and YouTube members, where you can go to help support the channel and allow us to keep doing what we're doing. As a special thank you to our Patreons and YouTube members, we'd like to give them all a shout out. So thank you to our Patreons: Christian Weir, Soren, Greenskins Gaming, Kenny Lau, Outer Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, The Rising Ape, Q Dynamic, Anthony B, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, Derek, and Giappy390. And to our YouTube members: Green Roots Gaming, Kenton Young, Ronya, Lock Lorick, The Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Wolfric Nick, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, Revenar, Pink Nico Fire, Robin Mankiller, and Monty's Tabletop Terrain. And lastly, a special thanks to Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork you see on the channel. Thank you all for watching. Once again, stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now, everyone.